Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 2021 Southern University Law Center and Southern University Agriculture Research and Extension Center's Cannabis Symposium. We are excited to have you here. We have a wonderful lineup over the next 2 days. And to wrap up, we're going to finish with our hemp growing session, which is in person on Saturday. Our first presenter is attorney Tabitha Irvin. She is the executive counsel for the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry, and she is also the state's medical marijuana regulator. So Tabitha. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm live now. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tabitha Irvin with the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry. I don't see any faces, so I feel like I'm talking to myself. So if you see me looking to my left, I'm trying to get an audience from someone that's in my office. Anyway, I will be presenting on behalf of the Department of Ag and Forestry regarding the regulatory side of the medical marijuana program and what we at the Department of Agriculture and Forestry actually do. Okay. Louisiana has had legislation since 1991 regarding marijuana. Because of the lack of rules and regulation, the law was just sitting on the books. Dr. Allison Newstrom testified before the House and the Senate regarding her aggressive pancreatic cancer, which compelled the legislature to approve the Allison Newstrom Act, Act 261 of the 2015 regular session, authorized by Senator Freddie Mills, thereby the Allison Newstrom Act becoming reality. This statute can be found in Revised Statute 40, 1046, and 1047. This program is meant to be a therapeutic program for those with debilitating medical conditions. And as I present, I will go through, starting with the law and the sessions from 2015 through present. Okay, so in 2015, when the law became into existence, the regulatory duties were divided up into 3 agencies. The Louisiana Board of Pharmacy, which they regulate the pharmacists who dispense the medical marijuana to the patients. Our department, the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry, we regulate the growers, the manufacturers from seed to sale, and the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners. They regulated the physicians. And yes, you heard me say regulated because you'll see later they're no longer regulating in the sense of medical marijuana. And as I go through, you will see that they were written out of the law. And now that the law states physician licensed by and in good standing with the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners can write a recommendation provided there is a bona fide doctor-patient relationship. And as I go through, you will see how it changed from one definition to what it is present. The law gave Louisiana State University Agriculture Center and Southern University Agriculture Center the right of first refusal to become the licensees for the production and the manufacturing of medical marijuana, either jointly or separately, and they both exercise their rights. LSU opt-in June of 2016, and Southern opt-in in August of 2016. In turn, both universities entered into a contract with subcontractors to grow and manufacture the product. LSU contracted with GB Sciences of Louisiana, which is Canna, and Southern contracted with Advanced Biomedics, which is Alera Holistic Healthcare. You would see as time goes how the program has developed because the law did not at that time have inhalation or flower. So there's no smokable and inhalation during that time. You will also see how the conditions, as I have listed here, how they grew also over the years. Our department regulatory duties are found in revised statute 1046 and 1047. And our duties consist of everything that happens to the facility, which is the building, production of the growing and the plants from seed to harvest, the extraction of the concentrate of the medical marijuana, and progressing of making the product. And you also find the rules in the Louisiana Administrative Code, Title 7, Part 49, Chapters 1 through 31. Okay, in 2016, the language changed from the doctors being able to prescribe to recommend, because marijuana is still federally illegal and doctors could not legally prescribe an illegal drug. So that definition was given as a guidance for the doctors. As you see, I have listed more conditions, and the conditions have grown. And as you saw in the last slide, cancer was in that slide. But however, back in 2015, it was only for chemo patients. Now it's for any patient, not all patients who have cancer. Okay, as far as the physicians I have listed, for the doctors, it clarified that the recommending physician shall be licensed by the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners. They have to be in good standing and domiciled in Louisiana. And as I said before, you're going to see how that progressed. Also in 2016, he gave the Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry, the authority to obtain criminal history applicants' information. And we also established fees. And all that was done in the 2016 regular session. So nothing happened in 2017, so we're going to skip to 2018. And we have more conditions that we have listed. And the condition that was the other conditions that they put in was about the autism spectrum disorder, in which they gave guidance on that. But if you go up and you look and you see the intractable pain, so there was no misunderstanding. They gave a definition for that one. And what it meant in a nutshell, that as a chronic pain that may warrant opioids, that anyone can be recommended a medical marijuana. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back because I didn't hit, hold on, here it is right here. Also in 2018, because the legislature was concerned about the patients that had the condition associated with autism spectrum disorder, they stipulated that no physician shall recommend medical marijuana for treatment of any condition associated with autism spectrum disorder for a patient who is under the age of 18, unless the doctor is a pediatric subspecialist licensed by the Board of Medical Examiners and credentialed by the Board of Pharmacy. Well, when that law went into existence, they realized that we didn't have that sort of specialist in the state of Louisiana. So as time went on with the next session, they repealed that law. Also in 2018, they allowed the physicians to dispense to patients, their caregivers, the minors, domiciliary parents. I don't know what happened. It was going back and forth, so I'm sorry. And the last bullet that I have, it states that the law also touched on workers' comp for you lawyers out there. It states that the employers and their workers' compensation insurer shall not be obligated or ordered to pay for medical marijuana in claims arising under the workers' compensation law. I'm not a workers' comp lawyer, so I just kind of threw that in for you lawyers out there who can actually use that. And going on to the 2019 session, there were no new conditions added. However, the Act of 207 in 2019 regular session, it authorized the Board of Medical Examiners to create and maintain a data system for collecting information on health effects and outcomes associated with medical marijuana. However, the next year, rules that was promulgated by the board was repealed. So the law provided in 2020 that the doctors would report the adverse effect of the health outcomes associated with the patient's use of medical marijuana. And that would give some idea of how it is affecting patients and if it's actually helping. Act 284 removed the requirements that the physician be domiciled in Louisiana, but the recommended physician shall be a bona fide doctor-patient relationship. It also allowed for the metered-dose inhaler, which is the metered-dose inhaler. There's a difference between, people get confused, the metered-dose inhaler versus vaping. The metered-dose inhaler, they actually put a definition in there for you attorneys. Of course, and we attorneys, we love a definition as guidance. Metered-dose inhaler is a device that delivers a specific amount of medication to the lungs in the form of short bursts of medicine that is usually self-administered by the patient via inhalation, whereas vaping is totally different. And you have seen before, vaping is not, they don't want people vaping because of the lung issues. Also, Act 331, in the start of this program, the department was supposed to receive 7% of gross sales. So in 2019, they rediverted those funds so that the department do not get the 7%. It's now going to the community and family support system for the early step intervention program for infants and toddlers with disabilities and their families. So now the department has to go to the legislature to receive appropriate funds to run the program. And if you have any questions, you can put in the audience chat, and someone in the background will kind of feed the questions to me. So let me know, what if you have any questions. Okay, in 2020, as we get closer to this year, more conditions were added. You can see now it's Alzheimer's, motor skills disease, the spinal muscular atrophy, fibromyalgia, sickle cell. So people believe that marijuana is helping, so the legislature added more diseases as we go on throughout the years. Also a change was the definition for recommend. That definition changed. And I'm going to read the 2016 definition and tell you what the 2020 definition, so you can actually see the difference in the changes. Okay, so recommend in 2016 is stated that in order for a physician domiciled in Louisiana and licensed and in good standing with the Board of Medical Examiners and authorized by the board recommended medical marijuana to a patient-specific and disease-specific for the condition that was listed that they had for 2016. So you have to be a patient with a specific disease that was listed with those listed conditions. Now, it states the opinion of any physician by any physician licensed by and in good standing with the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners, provided within a bona fide doctor-patient relationship. That in the doctor's sincere judgment, therapeutic cannabis may be helpful to the patient's condition or symptom, as is communicated by any means to the Board of Medical Examiners, meaning that if you have a relationship with the doctor and they've been seeing you, and in their opinion, they can write a recommendation for you to get a medical marijuana, and they can fax it or they can email it to the pharmacy in order for them to dispense the medicine. Also, you will see in the 2020 session that the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners authority was repealed. And that's what I was telling you earlier, that when back in 2015, the Board of Medical Examiners promulgated rules and a guidance for the physicians to follow. But that was repealed in 2020, where the physicians now just need to have a bona fide doctor-patient relationship and make a recommendation with their sincere judgment that the patient can actually use it, or it would benefit them or their condition. Okay, so now we were in 2021. Where in the past session, we didn't have smokable and we didn't have inhalation. So now from 2015 to 2021, we went from no inhalation and no smokable. This year, in your 2021 regular session, smokable medical marijuana is now available. It won't be effective until January 1 of 2022, but the licensees, LSU and Southern subcontractors, are working towards getting things ready so that we won't have a drought, and they can stay up on being able to provide the demand. So again, like I said, in 2021, the state allowed for smokable or crude form medical marijuana with limits on the amount that can be dispensed. So we have it, but there is an amount that the pharmacies can actually dispense at one time. So as you can see, I have up there, pharmacists cannot dispense more than 2 1/2 ounces, which is 71 grams, of smokable or crude marijuana every 14 days to an individual patient. The patient under the age of 21 cannot receive the smokable or the crude without a written order from a physician. So the licensees are making significant adjustments, and they're preparing. So those who are interested, and they're going to go and get the smokable from their physician, just be a little patient as we start this new part of the program. They should be ready for 2022. However, we only have a few months to get it ready, and you will see as I go on the progression of how plants actually grow. So we can't just pull it out of the air and just have an abundance of raw material. Also, now that this is not under the regulatory authority, but we thought that most of you would be interested in Act 241. And Act 241 provides that the penalty for the possession of marijuana, 14 grams or less, for the first and subsequent convictions is a fine up to $100. So I'm sure many of you out there wanted to know that. So you're not going to get arrested for having 14 grams. You may have to pay a fine, but they kind of decriminalized that part of it. And that's not my area. I don't do criminal. Okay, so I have a diagram here And now that the Board of Medical Examiners are no longer involved, I'm going to show you, this diagram actually shows you the flow of how the product goes through the regulatory process in our department and where our regulatory duties end with the pharmacy. Okay, as you can see, the department regulates the production facility, which is the grow, where they actually grow the plant. And we also regulate the manufacturing part of it, where they actually make a product. Our department is also the state testing laboratory for the medical marijuana. So you can see the flow of it. It goes from the grow to the manufacturer, from the manufacturer to the state testing lab. Okay, if the tests are passed, once they make a product, and the tests are conducted, and there are no contaminants or anything, and the test passed, it goes to the pharmacy. If the laboratory tests fail, it goes back to the manufacturer. And if they can remediate that product, it would go back to our testing lab to test it again to make sure that everything is good. And once it goes to the pharmacy and is in the pharmacy's hands, and that's where our authority as the Department of Agriculture ends. And like I said before, our authority is from seed to sale. So that was the sale to the pharmacy. Okay. As I said earlier, the licensees have a partnership. And this is just recapping that LSU Ag Center is in partnership with WellCanna. And I think this is the wrong slide because on the other slide, I provided LSU and Southern contact information. Right up there. And Southern University, I'm hearing a little feedback. Southern University is in partnership with Ilera Holistic. And maybe later on I can put their contact information in there for you. If anyone needs to contact, oh, it could be on another slide. Let's keep going. Now, when I was asked to do this, they asked me to discuss the regulatory issues. And I considered them not issues, but hurdles. Okay, so in order to explain the regulatory hurdles, I need to give an explanation of what we do as a regulator. Okay, as our regulatory duties, we, like I said before, we regulate the facilities, production, extraction, and the processing. But before, however, the subcontractors can do anything, the licensee's partners had to go through suitability. And as you see here, I have a diagram stating or showing you what is needed as far as suitability. And suitability actually means that the person has to go through has to be of good moral character. The business is sustainable, and it is determined. It had to be determined that any prior criminal arrest did not pose a threat to the public, and they're capable of conducting any activity that's required by the license. Our state police gaming division actually conducted that process for us. They did the background check of anyone that had 5% or more of economic interest. There's criminal background check and the civil background check. They conducted that on board members, officers, directors, anyone who had a significant influence over the activities of the producers. And they looked at each of their finances. And upon the state police's report, the commission determined if the university subcontractors were suitable. Okay, the facility, when I say when we regulate the facility, that means we're looking at their plans, we're looking at their internal controls, we're reviewing their standard operating procedures, we're approving their labels that you actually see on the medicine, their packaging, we're conducting inspections, and I'm sure I'm leaving something out because we actually do a lot more than that. The building plans. When I say the building plans, we look at the building itself, the plans. We look at each corner. We look at the size of the facility. We look at the surveillance plans, the management plans, the personnel functions, the hours of operation. And to work in this industry, everyone has to be at least 21 years or older, and they have to go through a criminal background check. So we actually do all that process also. And to be disqualified, you can look at our rules to find what would actually disqualify a person from working in this industry. So you will see here, these are some of the signage that we have, that we look at, that's required on the building. The internal controls, we review, when we review the internal controls, we look to make sure they're safeguarding the assets. They're keeping financial records accurately. Their production sales and their inventory is adequate according to our medical marijuana tracking system. They're keeping proper records. And we also look at how they actually mix and how they're coming up with their formula. But that's, of course, proprietary information that, of course, I can't tell you. We look at the standard operating procedures. So for every product that they produce, we review and comment on each one. So we look at the steps on how they're going to operate the business, how they grow, if they're using pesticides, if they have nutrients, how they're going to transport it, how they're disposing of their waste, and what are their procedures on if there's a recall. So that's pretty much all the information. And like I said before, I probably left some stuff out because it's just so much that it just flows every day. We actually just go through the process and just keep it moving. Okay, what you see here is the production portion of it. And I'm showing you I'm gonna show you from the production area. This is the mother plant and the immature plant. It starts from the mother stage, and we start tracking it at the mother plant, and we start tracking in the immature stage when it reaches about 8 inches. So they have to tag it, and every plant has to be tagged and put into the medical marijuana tracking system. So we can track it from the seed all the way of the immature stage to the sale. And we do that to prevent inversion and diversion of the plant. The mother plant, we look at the clone, the culture, the tissue culture, the seedling, and the clippings. And then they go into the immature stage. The vegetation stage is like the juvenile stage. And if you're like me, when I was young, that's what I thought we were smoking. I had no idea what we were actually smoking, what people were smoking. Not me. So the next slide will show you, this is what an actual marijuana looks like after it's harvested. But this is the flowering stage, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get to that stage. So when I told you before to kind of be patient, it's because it takes a while for these plants to grow and to mature to get to where they can actually sell it. So this is what I consider the money stage. Then we go into the harvesting stage, where they dry it, they trim it, they cure it, and that's when it starts looking like the buds, which I don't have a slide of that. But if you look a little careful in like one of the slides, you can see they're kind of individually taken apart, and that's what they actually sell and it's called, they consider that the bud. From there is the extraction. Since we're going into flower, they can sell the buds. But if they decide to make some medicine, this is what the extraction actually looks like in order to make a product. And this is like the purest form of marijuana. This is what is cut to make the product, and they make the syringes, the MDIs, the topicals, the tinctures, and other products. Okay, I'm going to get into now our laboratory. The Agricultural Chemistry Laboratory, which is our laboratory located on LSU's campus, is the testing laboratory where we test the concentrate and the product. And when a request is made, our inspector randomly selects the product for testing. And these, what you see here is what we test for the concentrate. And once it's the final product, this is what we test. And after the lab is given an all clean on the concentrate, then the licensee could actually make a product, and it would go through that testing. And we all know this hasn't been any clinical trials. So the department makes sure that it goes through testing more than once. And if there's a problem, we continue to test to make sure that our citizens are protected. Okay, so what you see here, we also have to review labels. This label that you see here is not a label of one of our licensees. However, you can see the list of things that we look for. We have to make sure that they keep it out of reach of children. That's one of our stipulates for looking at these labels. To make sure they have the potency so that the citizen understand what they're actually getting in this product. And we have the list of other things right here. They have to have their ingredients. So just like anything, like you go to the store, you see in a grocery store or in a pharmacy store, we want to make sure that you know what is in that particular product. As the packaging cannot resemble anything that is that a child would be interested in. So if we will reject that particular package. And it can't look like candy. It can't have these wild colors that's attractive. And it can't have something on there that will make it seem as if the local government, state or federal, has actually endorsed that particular item. Okay, right here. Okay, it is on here. Is where I put the information for Canna and LSU. So if you want to jot down their information, I put their phone numbers in order for you to contact them. And these are some of their sample products that's actually out there at the pharmacist right now. I'll give you a little time to jot that down. And here is Southern's, their contact information. They both make topicals. They both make tinctures. Southern has the MDI out, and LSU right now have the syringes. However, they both are making new products. So you can be on the lookout for those new products that are coming. So hurdles, you say, and you ask, what hurdles do we go through as a regulatory agency? As you can see, and as I explained, that our duties reaches far and wide just to protect our citizens. What we don't have is enough money. We don't have enough staff, and we don't have enough time. Okay, right now, the staff consists of myself and Kelly James. And Kelly is the tracking system guru for us. I rely on Kelly heavily for that. She and I are both now conducting all the inspections. That includes the equipment, the building, the inventory, sanitation. We look at all the labels. We review all the SOPs. We look at all the potential advertising, which advertising is prohibited, but they can actually explain to the public what this product would actually do for them. And we look at every product in internal control, where we have our auditor that goes out and do internal controls inspections. So you name it, we do it. Kelly and I are also a part of CANRA, which is the Cannabis Regulatory Association, which consists of all state regulatories in the United States, Hawaii, and I think Guam also. So we attend those meetings. I don't know where we get the time, but we actually attend break-off sessions. We are probably in different meetings at least 3 times out of the month, if not more. So getting back to the hurdles, you see what we need. We need money. We need money. We need money. We need staff. So I'm now going to get into the FAQs, and I would like for you to spread the word because I keep getting the same questions over and over and over. So one question I always get, is it currently legal to grow medical marijuana in Louisiana? Not for you, but for the licensees. The state only gave the right to LSU Ag Center and Southern University Ag Center. Will I be able to grow marijuana at my home? No, it's still illegal. We are only a medical marijuana state. We have not gotten to the point of an adult use, nor have they implemented anything for you to grow. Now, if you grow it at home, that's on you. Can I put my name on a list of individuals interested in growing medical marijuana? Again, no. I would like to apply for a license permit. How do I proceed? Well, the license is only given to Southern and LSU Ag Centers. And as far as the dispensaries is concerned, only the pharmacies that have been selected by the Louisiana Board of Pharmacy can actually dispense the medical marijuana. Can a production facility sell to the public? No. And if you hear about it, let us know. Can a production facility sell compost made of waste and medical marijuana? No. Again, if you hear about it, let us know. Can I transport medical marijuana? I just got this question yesterday, and I think I've answered it 1,000 times. The licensee can contract with someone to transport their medical marijuana. However, they have to go through the background check that the department actually conducts. Can I serve as a testing laboratory? Well, if the licensees would like for you to test preliminarily their medical marijuana, sure. But the official testing laboratory is a department. How can I get a recommendation to receive medical marijuana? Hey, go see your doctor. And if you have any more questions about that, contact the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners. Okay, I have here are our partners who have helped during the startup and continue to help. The legislature did not give these people authority to be a part of this, but of course we know that we can't do it by ourselves. So we go out and we solicit other departments and agencies where they are effective, and that's their specialty. So we have up here the Department of Health, where they helped us with the sanitation inspections and the equipment inspections. The Louisiana State Police, who helped us with the suitability, background checks, and surveillance of all the facilities, and the State Fire Marshal, who makes sure that the facilities on the buildings are safe for the employees. You can find the statute, revised statute 40, 1046, and 1047, and you can find our rules located in Title 7, Part 49, Chapters 1 through 31. Myself and Kelly, this is our information. If you need to contact us, it's best that you email because we get so many calls, but I try to reply to every email. It may take a few days since there's only 2 of us, but we're holding it down, and hopefully we're getting more people. But this is our email address, mmj@ldaf.state.la.us. And if you have any questions, I will take them now.
Okay, Attorney Irvin, we have one question here. What clarifies good standing with the Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiners? Question mark.
Okay, well, because I only regulate the growers and the manufacturers, I cannot give you that answer. That is what is written in the law, but I would advise you to contact the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners for more clarification.
Okay, the next question is, Attorney Irvin, now that the Board of Medical Examiners is no longer a regulatory agency, doctors only need a bona fide doctor-patient relationship to recommend and not anyone else? Question mark.
I guess I don't understand and not anyone else, but yes, that's what the law says. The law changed it so that it's only, there are no rules at the Department of, the Board of Medical Examiners. The law states you just have to have a bona fide doctor-patient relationship. What constitutes that? I would recommend that you contact the Louisiana Board of Medical Examiners, and in the opinion, sincere judgment of the doctor, they can recommend the medical marijuana. And that's the law.
Okay, and I think this is the last and final question. Could you also tell us the name of the association again? Question mark.
It's called CANRA, and it's a regulatory association. It's called Cannabis Regulatory Association for only regulators to join. So that's why myself and Kelly, we're actually members, and we're actually founding members. So we're happy about that.
Okay, well, that seems to be all of the questions that we have on this end, Attorney Irvin.
Okay. Well, if you all have any questions for me outside of this presentation, you can email it to mmj@ldaf.state.la.us, and I will get back to you. And I hope you enjoy the presentation.
All right. Thank
you so much.